This story comes to us from Axios.com. From Axios Denver, we're going to Colorado, where an investigation has found that Colorado allows bad cops to remain certified law enforcement officers through a series of loopholes and mistakes and self-imposed limitations. So you could be a bad cop in Colorado, and because of some of these loopholes or some of these mistakes in the post policy, you could still be a cop. So you could be one of those cops from Aurora that, were involved in the death of Elijah McClain, and then go, I'm going to go down to Denver and be a cop. I'm going to go over to Colorado Springs and be a cop. The state's Peace Officer Standards and Training Board, that's the POST board, which certifies police officers and is overseen by the Colorado Attorney General, has shielded the identities of most law enforcement officers accused of wrongdoing prior, allowing them to move from job to job, and failed to sanction local agencies that don't report misbehavior. I said accused of wrongdoing prior. That threw me off. But I get what they're saying. So let's say a cop has a record of wrongdoing for like 3 years. They're not going to release his identity, and they're going to allow him to, like I said, go from Aurora to maybe Colorado Springs or Denver or, Colorado Junction. Colorado officers need that certification in order to make arrests in Colorado. No kidding. Now, the findings, which were gathered from never-before-seen data and public records as a part of a 10-month investigation by the Colorado News Collaborative, raises doubts about whether the state is keeping the public safe 3 years after promising a new era of police accountability. So remember, after 2020, where the whole nation basically burned, Colorado is one of the states that said, we're going to have a new era of police accountability. We're going to change. Our cops are going to do better. Well, 3 years later, bad cops are still being cops. No accountability. Now, one of the major reforms approved by Colorado lawmakers after the 2020 murder of George Floyd was the creation of a public database, and a whole bunch of states came up with that, the public database thing. It was launched in January of 2022, listing officers who lost their right to carry a badge and a record of those under investigation for wrongdoing. However, they could still go on to be cops again. The information in the database is incomplete and inaccurate in certain cases. The records reviewed by 4 Colorado media organizations show, making it unreliable to filter out bad cops. So one malfunction they found is Post has known for about a year, displays certified next to the name of officers who lost their certification. It lists dozens as terminated for cause, but doesn't list the reason. But it's supposed to be accountability and transparency, right? In other cases, the information is outdated by 3 months or more. So they lose their certification, but it still says they're certified on the database. Which I think what they're saying too is they could go to, let's say, another job as an decertified cop, and when they go on the database, it says certified, and they go, oh, okay, he's still a cop. When he's like, no. Officers involved in some of Colorado's most noteworthy misconduct cases, including the 2019 death of Elijah McClain in Aurora, are listed with no disciplinary histories because the database doesn't contain any reports prior to 2022. So the cops that were involved in Elijah McClain's death, they don't have disciplinary histories listed because it was before 2022. But I'll tell you what they do have, an editorial that I put out, actually a couple of them, and I'm going to keep referring to Elijah McClain because those cops are never going to live it down. You killed a black autistic kid walking home simply because he had a ski mask on and he was enjoying his music with his earpods in. So you figured, we're going to talk to you, buddy. We're cops. You're a black kid with a ski mask. We're going to talk to you. Even though he wasn't doing anything wrong, and he ended up suffocated. I digress. Moreover, the state relies on local agencies to report bad behavior, which often doesn't happen, and does not impose the allowed sanctions on those that fail to report. So, a lot of these local agencies, they're not reporting the bad behavior, and then there's no sanctions for it. I mean, same thing with cops. You know, cops break the law or violate someone's civil rights. The police department pays for it, not the cop. The cop don't get sanctioned. Cop gets a stop that, dude. And he goes back out and does it again. It goes down from there. There's a little bit more that you can read, quite a little bit more. But the bottom line here is, and then the square of it, is that these local agencies, particularly in Colorado, they're finding, who said, we're going to have, you know, because of the George Floyd summer 2020, look, we're going to have a transparent accountability policy where we're going to tell you, like, these cops, these are the bad cops, these are the ones messing up, and they're not doing it, and no one's sanctioning them for it, for not doing it. And then they have their information's outdated, and bad cops are remaining certified on the database, even though they're not cops anymore, and they're allowing that's allowing them to get jobs again. Does that make sense? That cops are allowed to F up at work, and because of a simple glitch in the database, computer system, the information on the computer database, they can F up and just keep effing up because, well, nobody's updating the information. And what are they going to do? Fire me? I'll go work next to the city over there.